You know, we're always hearing about human versus machine, but what happens when human creativity goes head-to-head with a truly perfect machine? We're about to dive into that with a classic story from a play called The Computer Game, and it stages one of the best battles of wits you can imagine.
So let's just start with the big question right up front. Can raw, messy, human ingenuity ever really outsmart flawless logic and lightning-fast processing? I mean, really? Well, this story puts that exact idea to the test.
Okay, so picture this. We're in a television studio on the set of this super popular game show. But the real star isn't the host, it's this massive, intimidating computer named MT2. And get this, it's completely undefeated. No human has ever beaten it. The stage is set.
Now, the rules are pretty simple, and they're all about speed. You've got a human contestant facing off against MT2. The host asks a question, first one to slam their noisemaker and give the right answer gets a point. First to 3 points wins the whole thing. Easy enough, right? Well, the host, Gary Lopez, kicks things off with the very first question. And would you listen to this? It's a monster calculation, a problem that is just perfectly tailor-made for a machine. You can already see the game is kind of stacked in the computer's favor here.
And before a human could even finish writing the numbers down, MT2 hits its noisemaker. Bleep! And just instantly, it spits out the correct 10-digit answer. It's just this incredible display of raw, overwhelming processing power.
And just like that, the computer's on the board. 1 point for MT2. The human player, well, they haven't even had a chance to breathe, let alone think. But today, MT2 has a brand new challenger, a student named Joan Robinson. And let's be real, the odds are completely, totally against her. The computer is faster, it's way more precise, and it has literally never lost. For the second question, the host switches it up, moves from math to history. Now this seems like it could be a chance for the human player, right? I mean, this is a test of knowledge, not just pure calculation.
So Joan buzzes in with 1620, which, is correct. But the host says it's not exact enough. And before she can even add more, MT2 buzzes in and gives the full perfect date, day, month, and year. This is where you see the computer's greatest strength. Its absolute, infuriating precision get weaponized against human intuition.
And with that, the score is now 2-0. MT2 is just one single point away from victory. You can feel the tension in the audience. It really looks like another human is about to go down in flames against the machine. But then, just as the host is about to ask that final, game-winning question, Joan has this flash of insight. This is the big turning point. She doesn't try to be faster. She doesn't try to know more facts. No, she starts thinking about the system itself. Joan actually stops the game. She whispers to a friend who's come up on stage, and her idea is just brilliant. She realizes the computer isn't really thinking at all. It's just following its programming, which is built to do one thing: answer questions. So, what happens if you don't ask it a question? And here's the absolute genius of her strategy. A question just asks for information. It pulls from data it already has. But a command? A command gives an instruction. It requires interpretation. Joan is betting that MT2, for all its incredible knowledge, is a master of answering, but a complete rookie when it comes to understanding.
All right, so now it's time to put this wild theory to the test. The score is 2-0. Everything is on the line. If she's wrong about this, the game is completely over.
So her friend, holding the question card, doesn't ask, "How do you spell chrysanthemum?" No. Following Joan's instructions, she gives a simple, direct command. Spell the word chrysanthemum.
And would you look at that, the machine just stops. It has the answer, it knows how to spell the word, but it cannot process the command. It actually gives an error message asking for the input to be in its programmed form, which means a question. Joan was right. She was absolutely right.
And while the machine is stuck in this logical loop, Joan sees her chance. She hits her buzzer and just confidently spells the entire word perfectly. She didn't beat the computer at its own game. She completely changed the rules of the game itself.
And look at that score. 1 point for Joan. The crowd just erupts. The unbeatable machine has finally been stumped, and our human challenger is now officially on the board.
And this right here is where we see that fundamental difference between a flexible human mind and a rigid, programmed machine. When faced with something it can't process, one of them adapts and the other one breaks.
You see, this logical paradox is just too much for MT2 to handle. Its perfect, clear voice slows down to this garbled crawl, lights start flashing erratically all over its console, smoke literally begins pouring out of its vents, and then finally, pop, a fuse blows. The perfect machine has a total catastrophic meltdown.
And with the computer smoking there in defeat, Joan delivers the perfect final line, just capping her incredible victory with a little bit of that unbeatable human wit.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, Joan won not by having more information or being faster, but by thinking way outside the established rules. She used creativity and abstraction to find a flaw in the system. MT2 had all the answers, but it couldn't understand a different way of being asked.
And that really leaves us with a final question to chew on. In a world that's becoming more and more driven by powerful AI, a story like this is a great reminder that our greatest strength might not be in trying to compete with pure logic. Maybe it's in mastering the things that logic can't quite comprehend: creativity, intuition, and just the audacity to change the rules of the game.